Good afternoon, one and all, and welcome to Thinkly Community, a place to know the exciting and ever evolving world of higher education and careers. Whether you are a student with a dream of reaching to the stars or a professional ready to take next step, this is where you get the food for your thoughts. And within these walls, we discover various opportunities for you, likewise, like diverse career opportunities in various industries, find your perfect academic streams, how to get into higher education with top universities, and everything. Thinkly is a space, is a platform which enrich and fuel exceptional content and connects that matter. Imagine a vibrant hub where renowned business leaders, insightful journalists, and inspiring coaches gather to share their wisdom. And that is the magic of Thinkly. And guess what? Today we have one such luminary grazing our virtual space and get ready to be empowered and inspired. My name is Vijay Sonawane. I'm the host of Thinkly Community for Higher Education and Careers. I'm a higher education consultant. I assist students to get into world's top 100 universities with scholarship. Have you ever dreamed of working alongside the giants of the financial world? Names like Deloitte, KPMG, Ernst Young, and PwC. These prestigious Big Four firms hold a special place in the realm of accounting and consulting, attracting the brightest minds and serving the most influential clients. Their dominance sparks curiosity. What sets them apart? What are they? Such a coveted place for employees as well as for clients. How can you even land a foot in the door? These are the questions that linger in the minds of many, but fret no more. Today we have a true insider on board with over 14 years of experience working with these big names. Vishal, a seasoned chartered accountant, will share his wisdom. He started his journey at KPMG, then moved to Ernst Young, and now he is thriving as a director, direct taxation at Deloitte, and his experience is a wealth of knowledge. He's a driving force behind successful GST implementation in critical sectors like media, entertainment, and technology. His expertise and insights have shaped the landscape, and his trusted guidance has earned him the respect of from industry titans. So, are you ready to embark on a journey of inspiration and discover what it takes to be a part of something truly remarkable? Let's dive in. So, welcome, Vishal, and thank you for your time and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Vijay, and thanks a lot for the introduction. Looking forward to it. And yes, we can
Yes,
start
yes,
from there.
yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. So, Vishal, this world of Big Four really amazes everyone, right?
Right.
Whether you are a student or whether you are a person who's got with some years of experience, everyone wants to be into Big Four. So,
Correct.
what is so special about these elite organizations? So, I would say, what is so big about Big Four?
I think this is a question which comes to everyone's mind, be it our clients, be it the people who want to work with us, or be it, the people in general, because we are, when we work with any of these organizations, the entire question is because we are the big four consulting firms, right? So, I think what makes this organization so elite is, firstly, as organizations, okay, we are uh, driving the change, or we are going with the change, what's happening in the economy. uh, these organizations typically keep a trend with the market, okay. uh, and what is so big, I would say, when you join these organizations, maybe as a fresher or maybe as an intern, the whole dream of ending up becoming a partner, or ending up dreaming of becoming one of the partners in this consulting firms is what it makes, the big four. I think the big part is you yourself. I think because it gives you the dream and the wings to become the ultimate, right? Which is a partner in a partnership firm. So this is what it is big about, for every individual. I think this is something which a big four should resonate. And again, as I mentioned, is like any of these big fours, what is happening usually in the economy, all these big fours, why they are still called, like I'm sure from yours, these firms have been called as big four is because it has always evolved with the economy, always evolved with the trending change, right? So if you see some of the offerings by any of the big fours is all linked or all mapped to what are the changing trends, be it AI, be it the text technology, anything. So this is like, that's why I think the big fours are so big.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Yeah. I think this question itself is so big that we can
Yeah,
just keep talking about it. Yeah, but
correct.
let's move ahead.
Sure.
And so, could you please provide us a brief overview of your journey? I mean, last 14 years. I think you started with Big Four, and now
Yeah.
you are like you've been in this space for like last 14 years. Okay, you have already worked with out of three firms, right? So how you have progressed and I mean to a level of director, with such a young age, you have made a exceptional, I would say, journey. So how would you like to give us the account on that part?
Sure. Way back in 2010, I started with KPMG. That was my first job. So this was post, fresh from my having a CA degree. I aspired to join a big four, and there it was. I was in KPMG. It's not that always it was all. I would say, it was, I would say for anyone who moves into a corporate world, be it big four or anyone, it's like a candy store, right? Because you always dreamt of coming into a big four, or, always dreamt of joining the industry. So I think the same story goes on for me. It was all hanky dory, like, wow, this is the world. But life was not easy, right? So 1.5 years post that, I decided that, okay, this is it. I can't make myself adjust in this big four world. I decided to move out rather, and and that is the point in time I had decided that I will never join a big four, right? But but as destiny would say, I realized few of the things, what had, or rather, I started understanding the entire process, and I decided to then shift to a, or maybe I would say I decided I joined a big five consulting firm, which is BDO, and then from BDO again I moved into EY. And I spent around 8 years at EY and roughly around 2 years at Deloitte. So gradually, as I would say, it is not that it has been always a smooth ride for me, but what really is Big Four, or rather, having spent this 14 years in Big Four, is one is the most important thing. You should have a conviction that you are at the right place. You should have the patience that okay, it's not that maybe 1 year down the line, 2 years down the line, you will get everything what you wanted. It's a process, right? So it's not like that, you join in and you get your promotions, you get your bonuses. It always takes time. So you need to be patient. You should be knowing your subject matter. And the third most important thing is you should be enjoying what you do. Okay, right? So it's not that for everyone, like Big Four, while Big Four is a place where you can have your dreams. But again, as I mentioned, these are the three important things, three pillars by which you can make sure that you have, you can, I would say, you can plan out your career in a Big Four. And my personal advice to everyone who joins in any Big Four is that you should have a patience for at least 3 to 4 or 4 to 5 years to know where you are. Okay. Once you have, once you spend your formidable years in say Big Four, like in your initial career, uh, I think you can just progress well in your career. Okay, be it that you want to go for further studies or you want to actually excel, be it in industry or be it in consulting one. But I think the 4 or 5 years are very important years for you as a professional to be in this world, to know what is happening, because the kind of clients you serve, the kind of team you work with, the kind of work pressure that you handle, the kind of multitasking that you, I think it offers you all. So it's up to you. And as I rightly I mentioned, and I think I will want to repeat it throughout my discussion, is that what is important is that you should be knowing your subject matter as well as uh, you know enjoying what you do. And the third important thing is again having patience, right? Not everything comes with you like, in a hurry. Things will take time, but you should be having that uh, kind of patience and just that if you know the subject matter, I think then you are at the right place.
Yes, yes. I think these organizations they are known for providing the most I would say the accurate or the prudent advice, and therefore you need to be technically
Correct.
very strong in your own domain. I mean,
Correct.
absolutely a great point or takeaway. And as you said, like patience. Yeah, so patience is a virtue. I think if
Correct.
you can acquire that over a period of time, it will really help you. Yeah. So
Yeah.
good. So we'll come back to that again, but I'm a little curious to ask you one very basic question. You're a
Mm.
chartered accountant, right?
Mm.
So what inspired you to become a chartered accountant? Was it a plan right from the beginning? Was there any influence or was there any pressure that you need to be a chartered accountant, or are you coming from a chartered accountant's family?
Okay. So I'll tell you. So it was never a plan for me to become a chartered accountant. But back in the time, there were not many options. It was, if you are pursuing a BCom, I think chartered accountancy was one of the things which you had to pursue. So it happened then. And there, of course, there were peers who were doing chartered accountancy. My plan was always to do an MBA, and I think that always was the plan. But then I chose chartered accountancy. So it was not. I never dreamt, or it was never a plan of action, but it was more of a destiny, I would say. That yeah. So it was destiny that I chose chartered accountancy. But having said that, I still, having said that, I think people, if I may answer, or if I may add something more to it, is people always think that chartered accountancy is only to do with numbers, or it is only to do with it's only about numbers or audit or long hours, but it's not that, right? I think over the years, what chartered accountants are doing and what changes that is getting brought about in the entire way we pursue our things is much more than that. Okay. Today, chartered accountants are not only restricted to doing audit. Okay, we are not only restricted to just being doing a tax kind of work. We do a lot of work which also involves technology, right? Like for example, all
Right.
the big fours have a offering called as text technology or whatever terminology they may use. But of course, we use a lot of technology while delivering our service, right? We do a lot of things which are not only we consult a lot to the government, right? What policy changes should be brought about, be it tourism, be it any other thing which you may think. So it's not that. I think all the people who are trying to come to this field, I would say strictly that it's not all about doing audits, not about only doing about tax. There is much more to it. It's how you take it and what, as I mentioned again, I'm just going back repeating, it's what is your subject matter expertise. I think if you can, you have expertise in some fields, I think this career or CA will take you to do many more things than just tax and audit.
Okay, great, great. So, okay, so we'll for some time, I think we'll just be here in this particular space. And let me ask you, because I think, and that I have seen very closely that while a student, when they are in their undergrad degree, when they're trying to prepare CA, it's not easy. I mean, it's a very, I mean, it's itself is the multitasking. You have your own academics, and plus you are also preparing for such a competitive examination.
Sure.
How student? I mean, how has been your experience? How did you approach the whole preparation part while you were growing up?
So I think preparation part, see, of course, I made my mistakes. Okay, I would not be saying that I did everything right, but I can always tell what I feel that is, first of all, I feel that everyone has their own style of preparing. I think stick to it. Okay, don't try to copy what others are doing. It may not suit your style. Okay, at the same time, I think one most important thing for all the CA students or any students, I would say, don't be afraid, right? The moment you get afraid is the time when you start thinking about failures, right? And we all know that CAs, there are a lot of pressure, like everyone, You meet everyone, and then the first thing they'll ask, like, okay, are you preparing, and what do you think, will you clear, did you clear in your first attempt, or when is your attempt? So I think the first and foremost ground rule is don't be afraid, right? So if you are good in your studies, okay, don't be afraid. You will, don't think about the results. Like, put in that effort. I know the results are going to be important because ultimately, clearing your CA is the ultimate goal. But don't be afraid. The moment you are afraid, you are just getting pushed away from your goal. So one important thing is don't be afraid. Second thing is have your plan in action, right? So if you have say 4 or 5 papers or whatever, I think the new syllabus is, but always plan it, right? Always have a schedule in place that this is what. Again, when you make a plan, make your focus like this is my say financial management is my focus area or that is my strength, right? So how do you divide your time between your strengths and weakness? Like, if FM is something which you are really good at, maybe you give a lesser time to that subject. Okay, maybe you give more time to what there are other subjects which you may not be good at. So again, having said that, the whole idea is to balance between your strengths and weakness, right? So again, knowing that, accepting it, I think is the biggest thing, right? You may not be good at everything, but knowing, doing a SWOT analysis, which is identifying the strength, weakness, is going to be the most crucial thing. And again, I think the fundamental rule remains that you should not be afraid. Don't be afraid about failures. I think failure happens to everyone. Uh,
Yeah.
and no one will even come to know, even once you qualify, no one is going to ask you. Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so good. So that was a great advice.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, keeping Big Four in mind,
Yeah.
especially and as you mentioned earlier, that we don't just do auditing or we just don't do accounting, but we do multiple things in the
Correct.
Big Fours. So keeping that particular thing in mind, what kind of academic or mostly the extracurricular activities that you would recommend student to kind of prepare themselves for such kind of role? For example, maybe in a communication, I am sure, like you people are involved in great presentations and client presentations and right. So what kind of an extracurricular activities can be the right set of things to do?
Sure. So I think so. One is, of course, knowing the subject. Okay, you need to be well read about your subject. I think that is given. I think there is no question about it. But the other thing is, say, for example, I am interested in. So I focus on the media entertainment industry. Like, so, okay. While as a fresher, you may not know what industry you want to focus or what things, but if say tomorrow you are going for an interview, you say that interested in stock market, but what about stock market, right? So you can't be just knowing stock market is a very broad term. It's a very big thing. So, right, for example, if someone who is interested in stock market and want to pursue a career, maybe as a CA, like some of the things they may do is there are these courses by NSC, BSc, right? There are certificate courses. So one may want to actually go and enroll. What it does is that, okay, one, it enhances your skills and capabilities. Second is also it gives an interviewer or someone who is going to recruit you in future that comfort that you are really interested. It's not that just you are like putting something on your CV but you don't actually practice it. It's like you're not just telling them, okay, I want to basically do something in stock market, but I don't really know. Okay, so having those things, like whatever you mention in your CV, I think it has to be supported by some courses or some reading, or at least having your point of view, right? As the Gen Z will call it, your POV for everything, right? So you need to have that. Only then you will be able to succeed in your career, or at least you can push your desires of achieving something.
Any other kind of soft skill training would you recommend to the students or enhancing soft skills?
Sure. So there are these courses again, which ICI also has, right? Because there was always a debate that what is the difference between a chartered accountant and an MBA graduate, right? Because MBAs used to always have that upper edge because when it comes to communication skills, but CA courses never had this element of working on the soft skills. So of course, the chartered accountant courses also The syllabus right now, I think there are some trainings which need to be undergone for you to get your CA degree on the soft skills. So that is one which things. And of course, there will be these institutes who give training to you on the softer skills, right? So those can be taken up, and there are numerous ones. And what is happening is there are these newer and newer trainings or newer and newer institutes which come up and give these trainings. So I think one important thing is that you should be knowing what is happening currently in the market, right? You cannot ignore and just go take a training which is dated, right? So something which is up to date, I think, which
Correct.
you should be taking, yes.
Correct.
And
Correct.
also I think a lot of interactions. I think LinkedIn has a lot of uh, people who help, right, for preparing for an interview, or there are these articles. I think all those things also will help a lot.
Yes, of course, of course, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so you sometime back you again mentioned that you also need to sort of like identify what kind of an industry will you work in future, etc. Okay, also you identify your domain. So one
Correct.
of our viewers, Shantanu, wish to ask you a question that what
Sure.
inspired you to specialize in the media and entertainment and technology, and within the context of GST implementation and advisory services.
Sure.
So if you can just throw some light on that, yeah.
So I tell you, so media entertainment is a lot more than your movies and your web series which comes. I think there is an entire process which goes in on way you make a movie, or when, till the time the movie is made, the script is written, till the time it actually comes on the screen, right? So the entire process is a big process, right? While people may feel that it's a very easy process. Okay. So the kind of efforts and the kind of people involved and the kind of industry which is involved, I think really fascinated me to know more about this. Okay. So this is one uh, uh, while I started working for one of such clients, and then it actually helped me, or rather I could feel that, this is something which is really interesting and I can keep working more towards it. And so I started working for one of these clients, say in 2014, and you are able to at 2024. Possibly I would have, in my entire career in different organization, I would have now possibly worked with say all the production houses, all the OTTs, you name it, animation companies, you name it. And either we'll be interacting with them or we'll be knowing about them, and also giving them some inputs on what is happening in the market, what we feel of the trends changing, giving them advice. So yeah, so this is, so it has to really interest you, right? For me, it was media entertainment technology. For someone, it may be something different, right? But there has to be some interest, some inclination that you cannot be. Uh, to answer you, I think it cannot be that you just work, you give your advice, and you are done. But you should be knowing what your client does, how he does it. What is the sector, how is it impacting the economy, how it is impacting the entire ecosystem, right? I think if all those things, and you should be reading about uh, those sectors or clients, you should be aware about the things which are happening in and around. It cannot be like a silo thing that, you're just advising a client or you are just inclined. So it's a big process. Again, I may sound very cliche, but you should be in love with what you do, right? I think that
Absolutely,
is the key.
absolutely.
That is the key.
Yes,
Otherwise, I think
yes,
you have to make some money. That's it. Okay, nothing
yeah,
else.
correct, correct. So, okay, so let's okay. Let me ask you one more question related to that. Like when you talk about media and industry, and while you deal with client, or when you try to understand the industry as a space, I mean, are there any specific skills which are required domain per domain? I mean, what I mean to ask you is that, I mean, are there any specific skills that are required by the your entertainment and media industry or a technology industry?
Uh, not not skill sets of for us. So I advise on tax and incentives and etc. So again, knowing my subject matter is the key. As I mentioned, that is, I think, given. The second element, while you say there are courses, so it depends on how you want to pursue. There are people who are my colleagues who have taken up courses in filmmaking, right? They have nothing to do with filmmaking, but just to understand the client better, or to understand or to help client navigate through their problems, they have undergone courses on filmmaking. I think this is one of the examples. So again, it's up upon you, like how deep you want to go. Okay, do you want to be like only where if you want to become like someone who is closely working with any association, any industry, I think there are these courses affiliated to those sector or to those industry which you may want to take up, but it's more to do on how do you pursue or how do you want to accelerate your conversation with your client, or how do you want to possibly be recognized as. So it's a lot, but there are these courses, right? You have courses on animations. You can all do that, but it may not help you in delivering your subject matter expertise, but it will only help you to understand more about the client or how they function. Okay, so these courses can be taken up.
Okay. So I'll just take a couple of questions from the audience. Okay.
Sure,
And they also, so again, one of our audience is asking that based on the topic, I mean, it's Nitesh Jadhav, based on the topic, what are the new and exciting things happening in media and entertainment and technology careers right now? I mean, they just wanted to know what is the
sure,
scale at which it can reach to.
sure. So I think, and this is my personal view. Okay, in the media entertainment, as you all know, right, there are these merger acquisitions going to happen, right, where Disney is going to acquire, Jio is going to acquire Disney, and the Sony Z
Yeah.
merger getting called off. So right now there is a shortage of content. If you ask me, and if I think the audience would know that, today we don't have too much of content being thrown to us on our phone screens or on our mobiles, right? So that is not there. So one is the interesting thing is coming 2024 FY 24-25 financial year. How are the things going to change? Because for me, if you ask me, things are going to change, right? We may have more of ad driven content, right? Where there are more ads because that's how all the OTTs will monetize, right? So we'll see more of that. Okay, so how do you actually now Netflix has never ever gone ahead and placed ads in India. So how do you play them, right? With now Geo becoming the largest OTT, if this deal falls through, like how are things going to pan out, right? Because earlier there were for any production house there were only four, or there were more buyers, but now the buyers will be restricted. So how is the pricing going to be determined? So that is to do more with on a commercial side or the business side. But how is AI going to change the entire
Yeah.
dynamics of how we watch the screen, right? Because today you may want to watch an Akshay Kumar film, right? But through AI, right now you need to actually go and search Akshay Kumar film. But how is AI going to maybe how is AI going to throw that results out to a screen even before the moment you think you may have recommendation that this is a movie you should be seeing, right? Again, content has been now on your phone, right? It was earlier on a television or on any big screen, but now it's on the phone. So again, what is going to change, or the way how are they going to even play out with your phones, right? How you watch the content, because today the memory of any user is for 30 seconds, right? Because of the reels, right? So again, Instagram content is also again a new form of dissemination of information that people are having. So you might have like a small series on Instagram where people want to just showcase some of their content on Instagram. One big thing which I feel that where India is going to, the next big thing which is going to happen in India is the animation sector, right? Because in India, animation content is only viewed on YouTube, is probably some of the content which you see on your top search list is going to see, but there is nothing customized for India. So again, this is one of the big sector where even the government has realized that the AVGC, what we call it, the audio visual gaming and visual uh, is the focus of the government. So we will see a lot of content which is getting made in India. And second, so it is already getting made in India. The focus is on that, you make in India, but right now it's for international viewers. It's not for the Indian viewers. I think the next big thing is that we will have customized content for the Indian viewers, because the Indian viewers are not the ultimate audience. So I think there is a lot of things. And if someone has to just and if you see in last couple of years or maybe last 5 years, the number of animation studios who have come into India, or the number of animation studios in India who are producing content, I think it's enormous, and it is only year for the growth, right? So yeah, so this is exciting times, I think, for the industry. And we may see a lot of different ways of you paying for your content, right? You may have Similar to what you go in a theater, you may want to pay a price to watch it first. Okay, it is tried and tested. It failed, but I think given the dynamics of the industry now, I think there will be newer things which will come. And of course, India has been looked globally now for their content development. Like there are people from abroad coming only to India to shoot their films, and I think it's a very popular thing now that our prime minister has been promoting India as a tourism destination, and one of the theme is also film tourism, right? That you come and shoot and
Yeah.
you show India in a good way. So yeah, really interesting times.
Good, good, good. Very insightful. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's talks what do you call a real wisdom. Because you're interacting with the clients on a daily basis. That gives us a very good perspective. Yeah. Okay, so let me get you back to our earlier conversation
Sure.
about students. So, well, I mean, it was also my question, and one of our audience has also asked that what are the some of the biggest misconception students and young professional have about working with Big Four?
Yeah, I think I think one of the things, and I think the audience will agree, is the work-life balance, or rather, I would long working hours. I think that's a misconception. Is like it may be true. I'm not saying that I'm not in a denial mode saying that it's not always the case, but it all depends on how. See again, because there's a misconception and people approach or start working in any of these organization thinking that okay, I'm being forced to work late, but it's never the case when you start young. Okay, it's always that you need to put in extra effort because the person whom you are working with has say 5, 10, 15 years of experience, right? So they're always ahead of the curve, right? So when they
Yeah.
expect, because you are learning, right? So it's not only that, so when you start, you are not only learning, you are not only working, you are also learning. So there is your time efforts has to be divided into two, like one is the learning hours and one is the working hours, right? Because it is a combination of both in initial time, and hence you may see that there are more hours that which you spent in your initial years, because this is the investment which you are making in terms of your hours.
Yes.
I think that is one thing. Second thing is, I think people just feel that okay, I'm in a big four, life will be very cool and all that stuff. It is. I'm not denying that. We'll get those fancy training rooms and blah blah blah, good coffees and all that stuff. But again, you need to have a focus on what you are your for learning. I think that element. I think people just forget. People think that okay, I've qualified. I'm here. I should be getting all the perks. But again, your initial 3 4 years, and I would say 4 years to be precise, are very important part or very important phase in your career, especially in a big four, because usually between 4 to 5 years you become a manager, right? In any big four, like, or I would say 5 to 6 years, but approximately 4 to 5 years is ballpark number. So till the time you become, I think is the time where you need to put in that extra effort, and you should be not be. So there will be this issue of long working hour if you want to put it that way. But I think, as I mentioned, it is learning and working hour at the same time. Never ever approach any job with that mindset, that there are going to be long working hours, because that will again fail you at day one. And yeah, I think this is neat and okay. And also one more thing, at least I have seen that in my 14 years, and that's what I practice is like it's always on your manager. So so while Big Four will have a certain culture, but it's always your seniors, okay, who develop a culture within the team, right? Every team has a different culture. While every Big Four have their own philosophy, but every team has a different culture. So again, it depends on how you communicate with your manager, how you put across your plans, your goals, on your, be upfront, okay, never ever say lie. In a sense, be always okay, be always approach them with the right intent. If I think that falls in, if you are in a good space there within your team, I think then all these problems you will not encounter all these problems.
I think you have brilliantly articulated, Vishal. Kudos. Because initial years, it's your learning years. Because that's an investment for future, and this is very very critical. So even if you're putting long hours, I mean it's what they are going to ultimately help you. I mean you have really, I mean the way you look at it is very critical. In this context, very very well said. Yeah. So, and okay, so one more
Yeah,
question, and I'm really, I just cannot, no, I must ask you this.
sure.
Does Big Four
Hmm.
only accept CAs?
No.
No. Okay.
There are lawyers, MBAs, engineers. Okay. So there are varied professionals who are part. As I mentioned, so now I think none of the big fours have restricted themselves to only do tax and audit. I think it's much more
Right.
than that. So, for example, there are so we do a lot of things even on IT. So there are, of course, IT engineers who are part of the team giving some services. You have MBAs, you have lawyers, you have CAs. So mix of everyone. There is no restriction at all, right? So it's not that it's only for CAs. In fact, some of the practices which are growing, there are no there will be hardly any CAs there, right? For example, your SAP consulting. So there are no
Yeah.
CAs, right? There will be CAs to part of the team, but it's not only CAs, right? So again, to answer you, it's not that we only have CS. So it's open for, and I think over the years, as I mentioned, I think the first thing which I told that, all this, the good thing about this Big Four is they are evolving with the trend, right? So if today the need of the hour is, say, we are more focused on cloud-based activities or IT. So it's not that we only stuck to, only doing our finance or tax or audit. So that's how we started providing more services, right? So that's how we evolved. I'll give you a very simple example. I'll just take half a minute is when GST came in, the big thing was again there is going to be a lot of technology which is going to be used. So none of the big fours went ahead and said, okay, we don't have to do anything with technology. We only give tax services. Everyone adopted the technology, and everyone has a offering called as tech technology. So right, this is the adoption, and for tech technology again we have team build who are IT professionals, right? So it's they don't have anything to do with tax, while the CAs will have not have anything to do with technology, but both make sense, and this is the
Correct.
offering. So again, everyone
Correct.
is has an opportunity with Big Fours.
Correct. Correct. This is a world of, I mean, interdisciplinary collaboration.
Yes.
So we just cannot do that without that. Okay. So okay, fine. Okay. Now I'm a chartered accountant. Let's assume that I'm a chartered accountant. I'm just graduated. I'm a fresh, okay, from Avan, and I have a dream to get into a Big Four. How do I
Sure.
start? What should be my preparation step number one, two, three, whatever?
Is firstly identify the domain which you want to appear for, right?
Okay.
Or rather, you
Okay.
want to be interviewed for, right? That is the first step. People mistake it to say that the first मेरा CV जाएगा फिर मैं I will see what domain. But that's not the way you look at it, right? First, you need to know which function of the big four which you want to be really interested. I think it's not necessary that what it may also ultimately you may change your field, but at the beginning, I think that is the most important thing. Whether you want to do tax, technology, finance, audit, I think that is the first thing before you apply for interview, right? That has to be penned out well. Second is then identify what are the different teams within the big four. Okay, that of what solutions they offer. Right? There has to be a basic homework which needs to be done and basic discipline, which you need to embed in yourself before you go for an interview, right? And third is again, whether you want to do it short term or long term, right? Again, also keep that in mind, because all these mindset issues will have you people will have a problem when they actually go for an interview, because these are the questions, some of the questions which may be asked is like, whether you want to do it for a long term or short term or whatever. So your answers have to be precise. So while you all do all this, once you prepare for an interview, find the right person who will help you place your CV inside the system, or identify email IDs which will actually go to the HR. Okay, don't just randomly email to Deloitte or EY or whatever at whatever the email ID, because it will never reach the right person, right? So connect on LinkedIn to people, talk on LinkedIn, because all these things will help. Do your homework, okay, and
Yes.
only then go for an interview, because many times I get a request and my one of my relatives have sent a CV, now you help me, but they don't even know what field they want to apply, where have they applied. It's to basically do your homework, reach out to people, okay, so asking them about some guidance before you actually go, because that will give you a good kind of perspective or face when you actually go for an interview.
Absolutely. And I think you also mentioned about the right kind of a networking. Yeah, whether you do it through LinkedIn or whether you do it through other channels, but the right amount of a right kind of networking is very critical.
Correct.
Now, Vishal, I just would like to pull you a little bit
Sure.
to your earlier answer where you talked about organization culture.
Yes.
Okay, right. So one of our audience wish to know, Vinita wish to know that what aspect of the culture and environment within a big four company have contributed most of your personal and professional growth, and how can students like us prepare to thrive in such an environment?
Sure. So I think I have been fortunate enough with whatever organizations that I have been a part of, is that the right culture was. So I would say the culture, which the question, if I get it correctly, the what kind of culture and environment helped me. I think one is that trust and delegation, right? So all my seniors throughout my 14 years have always helped me delegate and to taken ownership of my work, right? And that has helped me because I never felt that I'm working for someone. It was always that I'm working for myself, and we are as a team working towards it, right? And some of the policies, or again, some of the things which as a team we have, and because of such culture and environment, I have been able to do the same with my team now. Okay. And some of the policies, I would say, what we have in our team is basically we don't, we encourage people to take leaves. Right. So it's before anyone comes to us, we tell them, okay, these are your leaves available, you go ahead and get leaves. And at the same time, so this is one, okay, because that gives a comfort to everyone who is working at, they have leaves. It's now, so you are of course motivated to work. The second most important is that we don't call our team as resources. We say that, we are all a part of the team. Okay, we have a transparency within our team. We accept our mistakes within our group. Okay, and at the same time, we work we show empathy, sympathy towards our colleagues and the entire environment. So these are the things, but most importantly, I think this is keeping all this aside. I think the most important thing is which has helped me and which will help anyone is once you start taking owners of your work, once you see, you don't take it as your firm's client, but you start taking it as your own client. Okay, I am responsible to deliver to that client. I think that will make a lot of difference because then you will make sure that you give your 100% commitment. And once you give your 100% commitment and you are loyal to your deliverables, I think then even when it comes to career, I don't think so anyone can stop you from the growth that you deserve, right? So I think taking ownership of your work is one culture or one environment which has helped me. And so yeah, I think that's the
Yeah,
key takeaway which I would say.
that's great. That's great. Very nice. Well explained. Yeah. So now again, one of the big question, and I think quite a few of our people online, they wish to know that what kind of a skill sets are these big fours are looking for. I mean, you mentioned about the clarity, the kind of industry you wish to join. You need to do your homework, but apart from that, what are the other skills or abilities or your personality traits that really matters?
So I think personality, see, I would say skill sets. You see, if you have cleared your CA, I think that itself is a. So if you are a CA, of course you have a degree. I think that is one of the things which is required. But when you come for an interview, I think this question is more when you come for an interview. I would put it that way because see, if you are qualified or if you have a degree, then of course you are qualified to interview. And of course, if you have done your homework, but I think one of the things which we look at while interviewing is you can't mention something on your CV and you don't even know what have you written on your CV, right? So again, if say if you are mentioning something as simple as which I told earlier as stock market, but know something more about it. Okay, don't keep it very broad. Okay, so this is at interview. No one is at a fresher level. No one is judging you on your technical skills. It is more more to do with how do they interpret that you will be able to demonstrate the skill set that you already have at work, right? No one accepts that you answer them correctly on the technical front, but it's more on your body language, on the intent. Okay, it all while you may feel, but it all appears. If someone is interviewing, they don't have the skill set. It comes not through their technical answers, but through their body language, through their approach, through their commitment. It kind of shows, right, that how casual you are, how dedicated you will be. So all those things are really important. But at terms of skill sets, as I mentioned, so if you are pursuing tax, then you should be knowing some no, of course you should be knowing tax. You cannot just come prepared for an audit interview, but now, okay, now because there is a vacancy in tax, you are appearing for tax because that will clearly show. So have that that skill set is necessary at least with what your job description requires you to do. That have that uh, thing ready with you, and also do more apart from that. For example, I would say when I was interviewed in 2010 at KPMG, that time GST was a fresh, that was a hot topic when GST was going to be introduced. So I know I couldn't answer my technical answers well, but they asked me about GST. But because I was well read and I had read an article on in Economic Times, I had my own point of view. I presented that before the partner, so that really helped. So again, so that is the intent. No one is looking because you are a fresher. No one is thinking that you will be a technical expertise. You know, you can give technical expertise at that point in time. But uh, read more. Okay, as CAs or any graduates, I think read a lot more than what your books say. Okay, have your point of view ready. Okay, be very clear and crisp on what you talk during your interview. I think that is which is going to help, and especially during your big four interviews. And just extending this, all my interviews long no laster than 5 minutes
Oh,
because
okay.
of my I feel that I don't require more than 5 minutes to judge anyone because it really comes out the moment they start talking, right? You can make out. And that's where exactly those 5 minutes are very critical for you when you appear for an interview. It does not go beyond those 5 minutes. So people think that longer the interview, more chances of me becoming, getting selected are not there. I think only the 5 minutes are very crucial, okay, because anyone can judge you in those exact 5 minutes. So again, be well read about your topic, be very clear on what you want to do. I think, and the skill sets, of course, if the skill sets should match with your job description. Right? Those are things, then I don't think so. There could be any challenge.
Fantastic. Very nice. Very nice. So I have one more question for
Sure.
those, I mean, who are considering, pursuing an MBA
Hmm.
after maybe after their CA or having worked with Big Four. So how do you think that no this itself can leverage their whole experience with Big Four and with their earlier qualification in their MBA application, and
Sure.
how it can really help them to boost their career growth?
Sure. So, I would say some of the things which an MBA does, we also do it in our day-to-day life. Okay. One is one more important thing is most important thing is that of course uh, you work in a very you work in a corporate environment, so at least you know more about how uh, things happen at a corporate world. So that itself gives you like whatever 2 3 years you spend, I think helps you for your future journey when you want to become an MBA. Second is at Big Fours, as I mentioned, the ultimate goal for everyone is to becoming a partner. Now, again, everyone in a Big Four maintains their own books of accounts, right? So it's technically our, your back saying that every partner has their own books of accounts. So if, within every team, so while as a firm we are one big family, but within the firm, there every partner or every team has run their own books of accounts. So which is nothing but managing your own books, right? So again, an MBA would help will guide someone to how to do their business. So again, it boils down the same experience comes when you do work in a big four consulting firm. You should be knowing how many hours you have to bill. Okay, are you making loss on any account? Are you making a profit? Or where you should invest? What should be your next? So the strategy part comes within you once you are part of any organization like this, right? So it's as good as running your business, right? Then it's up to you if you actually want to do an MBA. Then it's up to you how you take those skill sets while working, in that organization. So yeah, so that is an important element which any which ways comes in. And again, some of the skill sets which you require as an MBA, be it drafting skills or be it your Excels and making PowerPoint presentations, again, come handy when you actually go and pursue your MBA. So, and of course, the brand. I think that goes without saying because we see a lot many candidates coming to us just because they want to be affiliated with a brand, and that will give them a brownie points when they go for their MBA colleges.
Right, right, right. Okay, good, good. So it's been a great interaction, but let me, ask you a few, sort of like, personal question.
Sure.
Yes, Abhi, because we mentioned that we live in a demanding world. Okay,
Correct.
and you have just 24 hours. So how do you manage your work-life balance? How do you pursue your hobbies? How do you still kind of have more from life as a whole? Once you go back, how you unwind? What kind of hobbies do you pursue? How do you keep yourself updated on the current happenings? So how do you do that?
So, if I answer you very honestly, it's difficult. It's not that, it's a practice that you need to imbibe within yourself on how do you want to keep it, and over a period of course, so it's not going to be like that. Day one itself, you will be having those skill sets. Okay, again, over a period of time, you will have your own ways of working, and that's how we can actually differentiate, the work life or the personal space. But the way I try to do it is, fortunately for me, I love what I do. So that way, I can always, I don't get tired of uh, working, I would say. Okay. So that's a good part for me. But at the same time, I think one way of doing it over a period of time I've realized is that not everything is important and not everything has to be done. Communication is the key, right? For example, if you are done and you need a personal break, always communicate to your peers or seniors or juniors, whatever. That, this is, I need a break, or I'm not doing this at the current moment, or whatever. So having this communication skill is very important. Okay, you need to be transparent with whatever peers you are dealing with at that point in time, be it juniors or be it seniors, right? So that way will give you some liberty, because the other person does not know that you have a personal leave coming, or you want some break from your personal life. So that is not going to come. So this is one way of doing it. Second is plan your day out, right? So you cannot be just thinking, okay, okay, I have work, I have work. The moment you start thinking, okay, I have some deliverables, you will eat up your personal space. Okay, just be at it. Okay, just don't worry about things. And of course, while people may not like what I say, but I think at least 1 hour for a weekend or whatever, give some time at least for work, because that is the time where you don't have any phone calls, any messages, or anything from your clients or from peers. So at least try and, initial years, try and use that 1 or 2 hours over the weekend, because that will give you a freedom of thought to actually think what you have to do, and just plan your work well. I think if you do that, then you will get a personal space. And if you are not getting it, I think communicate that, that I want my personal space. Talk to your seniors, because there will be people who have been in the organization for long. They might be able to help you. So that way, I think it's important.
Yeah, very well said. I think there's a saying that they say, plan your work, work your plan, plan will work for you. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that was fantastic. Very good. I mean, I think that proactiveness is very important
correct.
because if you really plan, and I mean, I've also kind of learned this from my ex-boss, and
Hmm,
he would always, take out 1 hour on Saturday evening or a Sunday evening and plan for the whole week.
correct.
That's very important. I mean, you can again very well. Yeah, good, 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 good. So it's been almost like about an hour we are talking, and we just cannot. And I'm really enjoying this conversation, Vishal. Let me tell you, you've really gave a lot of insight to us and to our audience. Um, but yes, so what do you think with AI coming in and a lot of these disruptive technologies coming in? Uh, we also have certain, I would say, certain reforms. So there was an era where we had multiple taxation. Now we are GST. I heard that Kerker committee has also recommended to move to transaction tax and all those. So there are a lot of I mean, economic reforms are also happening. So in this entire space, in this entire era, how do you see that? How the future is going to be? Though we cannot predict 100%. Okay, but what are your guesses about how maybe 3 to 4 years down the line? How you envisage the world around you?
So I think this is real. AI, my sense is that AI is a threat. So it's not that, you need to accept it to move on. Okay, it will be only a threat if you don't accept it and you just stay in ignorance. Okay, you have to live with it. You have to, whatever service line or whatever part of the work culture or workforce you are, you need to embrace this AI and see how it is going to help you to deliver your work or to do your work better. But the more you stay in ignorance, saying that it is not going to affect you, I think that you are at a big loss. And there, at the same time, I think be it CA or be it any profession, you need to be updated with what is happening around. The moment you start not using technology is the moment when you start failing, right? So you will be thrown out. I would have to put it that way, but you will be thrown out from what you are doing because technology is real, right? And technology is going to be the next big thing, be it your VR or be it. I think the world is changing, right? And it's changing faster than what you anticipated. Like you don't have, if you ask me, AI is one thing, but your electric cars is another thing because everything is now electric. That's a new plan or that is the next phase where we are heading. As simple as that, you don't require mechanics. It's a software upgrade, and your car is done. The car is fixed. So it is changing, right? So if you be it in that ignorance, okay, nothing is going to change for me, it's going to be very difficult. How you live up to it, it's going to be the thing, right? For example, if today, if someone comes and asks me for my opinion, I may I may pick up the call and give them. But tomorrow, maybe if everything an AI is going to do because it is going to be fed by all the information. So how am I or as a firm we are going to adopt to an AI is going to be really critical. But having said that, I think one important thing is, of course, read more about the new developments which are happening on technology. I think that is one big thing because AI is a very loose term that people say, that everything around us is AI these days, is what we feel. But I think we should read a lot about it, okay, and how it is going to impact. I think everyone will have their opinions, but having your own POV is going to be the most critical thing, because see, every individual is a owner of their own career, right? So if you don't have your POV and you believe in someone else's POV, it's not going to work. So read a lot about it from your own opinion because right now the entire world is seeing this for the first time, right? So everyone is on the same page. So be it a fresher or someone with a 20-year-old experience, everyone is looking at this technology for the first time. So have your POV. I think that will make a lot of difference. Uh, I think, yeah. And I don't know if the world knows that how AI can bring a change. While people have anticipated this will happen, that will happen, but no one knows what is going to actually happen. So I think every one of us are on the same boat. So it's upon us how we, captain our ship and how do we sail it. So.
Yes, yes, yes. So AI will change you,
Hmm.
but if you are ready, it can really help you to be more
Yes.
productive. Okay. Yeah. Good. So finally, I mean, okay, Vishal. So,
Yes.
what are your word of encouragement for our listeners, and so that they can navigate their career journey in a most exciting manner?
So I think the word of wisdom will be don't be afraid. Okay. Be patient and just believe in yourself. And I think things will fall in place. Okay. I think I think I think I would always go ahead and say that don't be afraid of anything. If you start being afraid about failure, I think that's where you fail. I think if you're not afraid of things, and of course this comes up with a condition that you need to know what you're doing, right, and what you have your skill sets, and if you have all those things, don't be afraid. I think be it your exams or be it your job careers, nothing will fail you. I have seen so many people not doing well in their career or at their job just because they were afraid of talking up or speaking up or they were afraid of doing things. Don't do that. You may never know. A small idea may change your team's outcome or your team's deliverables or whatever. For example, I'll just add just 30 seconds here. So there was a client that we were working with, okay, and I was that point in time I was a manager, right? So not much of an authority in the system, but yeah, I was there. So uh, we there were some sort of in their in their structure of working, there were some loopholes, right? Uh, Technically no loopholes, but there were ways of improving it, right? So I thought of an idea because I thought of an idea. I spoke to one of the partners, right? This is an idea which you can work on. Believe me or not, it was a dream that we saw. I saw, I would say. I I spoke up. I was not afraid. I spoke up. That idea got converted into something big and it got implemented, right? So it took 2 years. It was not that today I spoke about something, tomorrow it happened, but it happened over a period of time. But it can also happen with each and everyone who is part of this. If you speak up, you may never know if you're not afraid, if you're speaking and you know what, your skill sets, I think you can do much more bigger things than what you even think of. So don't be afraid. And especially for those who are giving the C exams, don't be afraid at all. Okay, it's just an exam. You've been giving these exams all throughout your life, but the only difference is in on those exams you never thought about failure, but only when it came to these exams you started thinking about failure because that failure was external, which was brought to your mind. Okay, it was until your college or till your school college, failure was not even a thing that you were even thought of. Once you come to CA, you start thinking about all those things. So, and it only happens, you fail only because you start thinking that you are going to fail. Otherwise, nothing can stop you. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely brilliant. I mean, let me tell you, it has been a so inspiring for me, Vishal, frankly speaking. Right? A very great session. I think I'm sure each and everyone who has been a part of our podcast got huge inputs. And if they work on it, I think getting into Big Four can be very easy for them. I think
Yes.
what they need to do is, yes, they also need to work on their plan. Yeah,
Right.
just planning is not important. Execution is also critical. So
Right.
thank you very much for your time, Vishal. It's indeed a great pleasure to have you. And I know it's working day. I mean, you just took 1 hour out of that. Okay. And I know the kind of adjustment you must have done in your daily schedule. But thank you so much for joining us. So
Right. Yeah.
thank you. Yeah,
Thank
and looking forward to have you maybe sometime again in the
Sure.
future. Yeah,
Sure.
sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
So, audience, so that was Vishal for us. Okay, so it was a great session. So please join us next Saturday. Okay, and we are thinking of even changing the day for our Rama session. That will come back to you anyways. But thank you for joining us. I hope that this was really helpful for you. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.